Hey, this is Ian,
This is Sim.
and we're here to talk about the psychology behind professional development. And today's topic is who are you really? Sim, who are you?
That's a tough question to answer. It's like the tell me about yourself
Right.
question at like the beginning of interviews. It makes me so nervous. But who am I? Personality wise, I think I'm extroverted, I'm
Mhm.
curious, more intuitive. I go with my gut and I
Right.
figure out the details as I'm going along. I am more logical, systemic in my decision making. So that means I need to take account of my emotions and my mental state before I put in the equation of like what makes best sense.
Right.
And I am flexible. Scheduling, that's too much. It's too many things scheduled. I'm oftentimes go with the flow. And I was just talking to my partner about this. That when there is like uncertainty, I find a sense of calm
Mm.
in uncertainty. Oh, okay. I wonder where this will go. This goes towards like the intuition side of and being curious at the same time. uh, I'll be okay. And those that are listening, I just broke it down from a Myers-Briggs perspective, the MBTI,
Mhm.
extroverted, right? So I'm an EN, intuitive, T, thinking, and P, perceiving. So that's my Myers-Briggs, oftentimes known
Yeah.
as the debater.
I
What about you? Yeah.
Yeah, so saying talking before recording here, I was trying to find. I know I took a Myers Briggs way back in the day, and
Yeah.
for the life of me, can't find the results. At the same time, though, I'm looking at my results from an old Enneagram, and
Uh-huh.
if I'm looking at the type of person that I am, I don't know who listening has taken an Enneagram personality test. I am pretty much a straight up nine. So I mean, it breaks it down into relationships and how you are at work
Mhm.
and who you are as a person and who your match is or who you would work well with and who might
Mhm.
pose a challenge based upon personality types and conflicting personality types.
Yeah.
But a straight up nine, I think it was like 98% nine. And
That's high confidence that you're a nine.
yeah, there's some serious it's there, right? I mean it's and if I'm looking at the results right now, I mean, whether it's in
Mhm.
relationships or at work, and will at work, well, no, we'll
Yeah.
pass that. We'll say relationships. We'll say relationships. So relationships, me as a whole, nine is here we go. In a nutshell, according to that's what it says specifically. In a nutshell, my
Mhm.
strengths are agreeable and accommodating, and
Yeah.
easygoing and likable, and good at finding compromises and a middle ground. The challenges, which I may agree, I may not agree with some of them, is out of
Yeah.
touch with own needs, which is, yeah, I'm working on that. Faces problems with passive resistance instead of head on. Yeah, maybe that's possibly me.
Maybe.
And has
Okay.
trouble taking decisive action. That is definitely me. Yes.
Okay.
So, and those things I'm like working on over time. But at the same time, though, it takes time because, this is the personality that I am. And then now it's just the accepting of it and saying, okay, well, this is who I am.
This is
How do
where
I
I'm
work
starting. How
alongside
do
it?
I modify?
How do I
Right.
modify it? How do I work around who I am? And how do
Mhm.
I recognizing this is the personality? Okay, accepting
Yeah.
it and saying, how can I work with others that are not like me? How do I,
Mhm.
have relationships with others that aren't like me? And what do I need to do? So when it comes to, career development, it's the same thing of how do you work with other people who aren't
Right.
nines?
Yeah.
And because not everybody's gonna be a 9, not everybody's gonna be the same personality as Sim. So it's just
And
how do you
I love that.
modify that?
Right. I really appreciate that. And it's such a struggle for
Right.
so many people. And this is where I think a lot of conflict starts rising because you're not speaking my language. For example, if you tell me to go look at spreadsheets, all right, day in, day out, 5 days a week, I will be exhausted by day two. Because as an extrovert, I get my energy from talking to people and engaging with social exchanges. So my strength is to go out and talk to people and have conversations. At the same time, if I don't have that energy, then it's really tough for me to go back and look at spreadsheets. Not going to
Right,
happen.
right.
So oftentimes when we are talking about who are we really at the workplace and looking from that perspective of personality assessments, right? This is a guide for me to recognize I know what gives me energy, right? I excel at. I also know what are my challenges. For example, be perceiving, not really scheduled, right? The deadlines are fluid.
Mhm.
In the beginning of my career, I had the hardest time following up with deadlines. I'd get it done, but it would be like
Right.
procrastinating until like I think we talked about this in a previous
Yeah.
episode of until the very last minute and then getting it done. And over the past 2 decades, not 2 decades, a little over a decade, right?
Mhm.
I started to recognize like if I can outsource, right? If I can partner with somebody that is scheduled, right? That has that component that we need as a team to grow, then I
Right.
can meet their deadlines, right? Which helps the entire project, entire work, entire thing function better because they already know what's going to happen. I already know, okay, I have a deadline that I can't
Yeah.
break.
So it's knowing the personality types of the people around you, and
Yes.
I know of those who, for their team, has implemented personality tests,
Right.
Enneagrams, Myers-Briggs, because it does help with the team building. It helps with recognizing the strengths and areas of
Hmm.
improvement with people around you. And to your point of recognizing you are terrible with scheduling and you're not a big fan of Excel spreadsheets. Perfect. Find the person that is, or find the people that
Yes.
are, and then
Yes.
you can calm those individuals down when it's necessary to,
Right.
because chances are, they're going to need to rely on you for behavioral supports, and, just stabilization, probably because maybe they
Hmm.
are so focused on deadlines that it becomes very challenging to them, and so maybe they need you
It
to
does.
help them with
It
that
does. The
behavioral
anxiety
aspect.
starts rising, right?
Right.
The anxiety starts
Right.
rising as the deadline approaches. And oftentimes, if there isn't some levity brought into those situations, it can feel like really grim atmosphere, right?
Right.
Leading to that, we talked about in our previous episodes of stress, distress, right? Not productive stress, but really harmful stress, right? It can
Right.
lead to burnout. It can lead to so many things that changes the environment.
Yeah.
So having how do I say this? Having a team that has different personalities, different things, and recognizing that and recognizing who fits any different situations, different projects best, right? Where will
Right.
you have two team members at a constant conflict, right? Where will you need a third team member in that situation to mediate the productivity?
That's
Because
right.
you know all three of them or multiple of them will create something greater than if one person was working on it alone,
And just
right?
recognizing who their strengths are, though. That I think is the
Yeah.
key. Is people have to be honest with themselves and
Hmm.
not state answers that they think others want to hear.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
sometimes maybe they say, "I'm a great team player." Well, you're kinda not,
Yeah.
or "I can follow directions." Well, you kinda can't. But maybe in an interview,
Yes.
that's what you wanna hear is like, "Hey, do you follow directions well? Are you a great team player? Are
Right.
do you come to work on time? If you
Yeah.
have a conflict, what
Hmm.
do you do in those conflicts?
Yeah.
Do you talk out the conflict? Do you reach another manager to ask them to get involved? What steps do you take? And so it's a possibility
Right.
that maybe they don't say the truth because they want the job. And
I mean,
again,
we
this could be like
all
a minority of a situation here because sometimes I go into like Eeyore mood
we
and then
all
like
want to
clouds.
Yeah, I think like we all want to present our best selves. And this is where it is so important to present our best self and also recognize our authentic self and
Yeah,
our capabilities, right? Because absolutely, have I done a project and stays in schedule by my own accord? Yes, I have. I've done that before. Did that create
right.
a lot more anxiety for me than if I had like the flexible schedule? Absolutely, it would have,
Yeah,
right? We can do when it's required of us, but that doesn't mean we need to be at a high level of anxiety to keep
yeah,
accomplishing things.
yes,
This is where getting to know ourselves better and then getting to know our managers better, getting to know who we manage better, our team members, our peers is so important,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
you and I, we are just talking about in Enneagram. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly.
Enneagram? Yeah, Enneagram. Yeah, I'll pull it up here real
And the
fast. Yes.
Myers-Briggs, right? The reason we're talking about this is because there's been research on both sides of its accuracy and validity, right? Myers-Briggs has been around since the 80s,
Yeah.
right? I know I'm not too familiar with how long Enne-
Enneagrams? I don't know. That's a
Enneagrams.
fair question. That's a fair question.
Yeah. Well, the future us will figure it out. But the reason we're talking about that is because sometimes we need that structure of a personality assessment to say, like, oh, I tend to lean this way and that way versus our narrative of this is who we are.
And you can probably say over time that that makes sense of who you are. I
And
get it. Like that, that totally tracks.
yeah,
And, more than likely, the person you are at home is the person you are at work and vice versa. So if you recognize this is who I am at home, and that
right.
personality goes with you everywhere,
Yeah.
with what I was stating about myself in terms of my flexibility. And again, looking at the reports, it says that
Mhm.
at work, what do I need at work because of my
Yeah.
personality? And what I need help with is clear structures and milestones,
Same.
space and privacy to accomplish tasks without distraction. And
I
that's
need the
rough.
distractions.
Oh man. Oh man. I know, and the thing is with who I am very consistently inconsistent. So
Mhm.
in addition to that, I am great at short term. I am horrible at long term. So short term
Mhm.
projects I can knock
Yeah.
out, no problem. For me, I mean, it's like okay, I did this in the sense of an accomplishment, and I can move
Yeah.
on to the next one. Long
Yeah.
term requires structure. It requires time management. It
Yes.
requires milestones, so to speak, in order to
Hmm.
get to the end game.
Yeah.
And I have a challenge with that. But on the flip side, I'm really easy to talk with at work. I'm really
This is true.
flexible.
This is true.
I am the muse in the team meeting. Not amusing, just the muse.
Uh,
And just like, I'm just kind of like the person to talk with about getting problems out and maybe getting people back
yeah.
on track to where they are. So, and I think
Yeah,
that's
Ian,
again,
you mentioned something, and I wanna ask you this, right? Because certain personality types, they have a way of taking on compassion for their teammates,
mm,
right? For their team, and it becomes like, okay, I need to go talk to Ian. I need to go talk to Sam. I need to talk to
right,
X
right,
because I am so anxious. I need to just let this emotional part out so I can go back and do the task at hand,
right.
right? I don't know if you've experienced that in your professional experience where you become the go-to person to talk through like the challenges, motive, mental challenges.
Yeah.
Somebody might be, you know, doubting themselves or something.
Right. I have been in the past, I
Yeah.
think, in more recent years, I have been. Yes. And I think the role I had it was playing to the strengths of someone I can talk to.
Hmm.
And the flip side, again, where I needed probably to work on, and if I was in that type of role again, I would need to be more of a leader and listening, but at the same time, though, being
Yeah.
saying, kind of putting structure in place. And sometimes I feel that maybe that was something I
Yeah.
wasn't really good at, was structure in place, as being
Mhm.
the role. Like I am the
Okay.
boss and
Yeah.
therefore this has to be implemented versus, oh, we can let it slide and just kind of trying to be
Right.
the friend and not being the leader.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's where
Yeah.
I had a challenge with from time to time because again, personality wise, I mean, now I would be like,
Right.
yeah, this is what it needs to be. I'm sorry you don't feel that way.
Mhm.
However, this is the requirement.
Yeah.
That comes with time, I
Yeah.
guess. So
It
yes,
it
to answer your
it
question in
absolutely
a
comes with
roundabout
time.
way.
No, I think you answered and then you gave a little bit more of
Mm,
one of the key component of certain team members. They become a safe space for
mhm,
so many people to go and talk to and chat with and recover. But at the same time, the person receiving it, they become compassion fatigued
okay,
where they are caring for so many people's imposter syndrome, right?
right,
Anxiety, doubt, confidence, all these things that it weighs on them without recognizing
sure,
why. And from my experience, I tend to go towards that side in different teams, right? Hey, come to me. I legit have a open door policy where if I haven't talked to you in like a couple of days, I'm gonna go knock on your door,
Right.
right? Virtual or physical door and catch because I care about the person's well being,
Right.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And in certain situation, I carried too much of it where I'm taking on the anxieties, right? I'm trying to create a safer system so they feel psychologically safe to take it to their boss or their boss's boss to create that. And I know that's also my counseling background, right? That
Yes,
wanting to be there for people and work in that intangibles, which is often undervalued.
it can be.
Yeah.
It can
And
be.
so this is where I look at it and I'm like, compassion fatigue, there's a research done by LinkedIn. I want to say about maybe 2 years ago. There's a
Mm,
lot of people that are experiencing compassion fatigue at work because they are the person people go to when they're going through a hard time
sure.
and they're seen from their manager as underperform. But what they are doing essentially is creating a space for all their workmates to perform at a higher level because they are carrying that burden,
Right.
emotional burden. And when managers were to discipline or fire that person, they saw like the entire team performance significantly decrease.
I mean, imagine being the last person's or, you're in a company and your team is getting laid off left and right, and you are surviving the
Mhm.
the, the termination rounds.
Yeah.
And you're the one kind of left standing over round after round. And over
Hmm.
time, people are coming to maybe before they're coming to you, but now maybe you survived round one. Maybe people are
Yeah.
coming to you more over the rounds, and you have that compassion fatigue because you want to be that safe space. You want to be the person to talk with when these layoffs are. This is of course a worst case scenario. At the same time,
Right.
though, it could be realistic in terms of you're the
Yeah.
person that people talk with because you survived the rounds, and they are expressing anxiety and concern, but they see you
Hmm.
as that steady beacon
Hmm.
because you survived the rounds.
Right.
And
Right.
so you feel bad for the, that survivor's guilt slash, the compassion fatigue because that person must
Yeah.
feel just equally as terrible as the one who's getting let go of.
Oh,
They have to hear
absolutely.
people coming in waves and saying, what's
Mhm.
happening to me? What's happening? Do you know what's going to happen with next steps? And I just can't imagine. I'm guessing people who are listening, they may have known somebody going through that or they themselves have gone through that.
Right.
Just very, very challenging.
It is. It is. I mean, most recent news, almost 17,000 employees are laid off. I don't know if you saw the airline news
Yep.
of them
Yeah,
closing. Yeah.
Spirit Airlines,
Yeah.
that's right.
So so things are happening at any level. And today's challenge is how do you figure out and how do you identify yourself as who am I in the workplace,
Right,
right? When things are ever changing,
right.
when it feels like the ground underneath your feet isn't as stable, right? How do you recover? How do you move forward? How do you get your calm, right? Your sense of security when that's the case.
I don't think there's
And
a I
yeah,
don't think there's a
I
blank answer for that,
I wish there was.
Yeah,
I wish it varies person to person. It varies personality type to personality type, right? For me, what it might look like going out and socializing for somebody that's not
mhm.
me might be like, crawling up and watching TV, reading books or something,
Yeah, that's me.
right?
That's me.
Yeah,
I go in waves, right? Like, to
right.
be with people and to not be with people. I mean, it definitely goes in
Yeah,
waves.
yeah.
Introverted by nature, extroverted when I have to be.
Yes, I love that. I love that because one thing that I've heard, and I've done this myself, okay? One thing I've heard is using our personality type as a crutch. Like, I'm extroverted,
Yes.
so I really don't want to work on spreadsheets, right?
Right.
And that looks different as I've grown and evolved in my career
Yep.
where I need distraction to get back to my spreadsheets,
Hmm.
right? Because if I don't, so for example, I'll tell you this in a given 8 hour day, all right, about 4 hours need to be it with social engagement for me to be productive, like optimal productive.
Right, right.
If I spend a full 4 hours on spreadsheets, I am done. I'm not looking at a single computer for the rest of the day, right? But if I start my mornings off with 30-minute social engagement, focus an hour, right? Another 30 to an hour of social engagement, group projects,
Right.
things like that, and so on. Then I get both things done and I go home not feeling
Do you feel accomplished?
absolutely because I often get more done because I'm operating within my energy,
Okay.
right? The social part energizes me, the spreadsheets drains my energy, but I'm not keeping that in balance and in check by creating a schedule that works for my flow.
So is there some a way for someone else to do your spreadsheets?
If that was the case, I would have absolutely handed them over. In this particular example, unfortunately not,
You have to do it yourself.
right?
Yeah.
I have to do it myself,
Yeah.
but we all have this, right? I think previous episode we talked about how introverts and networking or having meetings,
Right.
right? But I know so many introverts. Like I think you mentioned Ian,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
that you're introverted,
Yeah.
right? They are holding and leading incredible meetings because they know let's get to the point first, right? And then we'll figure it out later, right?
That's right.
Oftentimes when I am in a meeting with more introverts, the meeting lasts half the time and feels double as productive, if not more,
I mean,
than
I
what
can't there's gotta be so many stories, again, those who are listening and probably relate in some way, shape, or fashion about the word meetings. And just the amount of times you've been in a meeting where it's just you think to yourself a couple things. Number 1, couldn't have this been sent through an email? Number right? Like, why are we presenting this when this could have been like 5 bullet points,
yes,
have a red recipient notification on it. So you read it, okay.
yeah,
Whether you absorbed it, that's up to you. Number two, in terms of when someone talks during a meeting about slideshow or deck, shouldn't say slideshow, it's not slideshows anymore. That was 20 years ago.
yeah,
A deck, why people explaining
mhm,
what's on a deck, I don't understand.
yeah,
Number
yeah,
three, having meetings for meetings' sake. I can remember just as a teacher, just we would
mhm,
have meetings and they would have to have the meetings to say that they met because
yes,
they had to have some sort of either curriculum or
mhm,
something that was law based or state governed along the lines of we had to discuss, issue A in a meeting.
mm,
So we had to have a meeting just for meeting's sake. And so probably people were talking or hearing this or like can probably relate to one, if not all those. Or they can probably add on to, when meetings kind of go bad or
mhm,
the need to have a meeting. But yeah, for
right,
introverts, I think we see like why do we need to have if the need for the meeting outweighs not having to have the meeting, then please
yeah,
let me know what the needs are.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if I feel like it's justified, I'm like, okay, it makes sense to have a meeting. But if it's just
mhm,
because I just like
yeah.
in my head, I'm like,
It's
I
it
have other
I
things to
love
do. Right.
right,
I was so there was times like I was just so focused on on like, on project A, I have to get that
mhm,
done. The meeting is wasting my time.
yeah, yeah,
Send the email, talk to me
true,
afterwards real fast kind of situation, but I've got to get
right,
this project taken care of kind of situation.
absolutely,
Oh my
absolutely,
gosh.
absolutely.
I'm done. I'm off
I
the soapbox.
love
Go ahead.
meetings. I love meetings. This episode is sponsored by Balanced at Last, my coaching services. That's balancedatLast.com. If you are curious about how I can help you, please schedule a free consultation call, a 20-minute call to assess your challenges and ways my services can help you. Mention you are a podcast listener and receive 20% off your coaching services. Offer valid for a limited time. Visit balancedatlast.com or scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description below. Thank you for listening.
It is amazing we get along as we do. It is amazing.
I know, because I want to meet before the meeting to talk
Mm,
about there will be a meeting and what we might discuss in the meeting, right?
can't.
And then I want to meet at the meeting to discuss everything else and then the agenda items. And then I want to do a post meeting meeting, right? Just to make sure that people will know what they're doing. And then I want to do individual meetings to recognize
It yeah,
I
go
want
ahead.
to apologize, but some reason I can't apologize to all my introverted colleagues because
If people are watching this right now, my face is turning beet red because I'm listening without judgment, and it's really hard to right now. It really is, and my face is showing
It's-
the expression that I'm trying to keep inside and not face.
what is that expression?
It's just, oh my gosh, that is just, and that's just so fascinating that people look forward to meetings. That just
Yeah.
fascinating because again in my head I'm thinking I
Uh,
have something to do. There
uh,
is a goal I need to reach, and that meeting is not that goal. That meeting is a sidestep and maybe a
right.
time suck of what needs to be
Yeah.
accomplished.
Yeah.
That's so
I feel
fascinating
you.
that you're like, no, meetings are fantastic.
Honestly, I had to have like a hard conversation with myself because working as this was a little while ago, working with a team of mostly introverts,
Hmm.
I needed to recognize that meeting is a waste of time in their perspective,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
If I have it my way, if there's like, you know, 51% extroverts in the team, I'm going to do all the meetings.
Right.
This is something I'm going to share, and I know you will judge me, but I'm still going to share it. I'm still going to share it. All right. If I send you, if I send you an email and you're like in the office, I send you an email, I will wait
Yep.
about 5 minutes before I come knocking at your door and say like, "Hey, did you look at the email? Can we talk about it?" Like that.
My gosh, really? You don't trust the internet or the intranet system to deliver electronical mail?
No, I'd rather just talk about it.
Why'd you send the email? I don't understand. Then why send the
So
email? Documentation
I
trail?
started. So this is my fault, and I take full responsibility for what I do. All right. I was this example I'm thinking about right now is that colleague was introverted,
Mhm.
right? And I knew like, okay, I'm speaking with somebody that's introverted. I need to send them the email so they have time to read, absorb,
Right.
and prepare. Right. In my head, that should take like 2 minutes.
Mm. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
That's not how people work. That's not how I work.
No.
But
And now I've done on my calendar follow-up. So if I send an email and
uh,
I'm thinking the issue is important, I think I'll put like 2 days later something in my
yeah.
calendar about follow-up with this individual about this specific issue. Because
Right.
if it dealt with students or whatever, then I wanted to get the issue taken care of. And to the point, to your point of because we work with humans, the human factor is sometimes they take
Right.
longer than you want them to take to respond when you need something to get accomplished. So for you, it's a 5-minute follow up, no judgment.
Okay.
And for me, it's like a
No,
2 day in the
I
calendar
hear the
follow up.
judgment in my head. I hear so much.
But that's interesting though,
Yeah.
because and I guess it's one of those things where I go back to the question, then why send the email
Mhm.
if your
Yeah.
response time is 5 minutes? Like that is
Yeah.
definitely one of those things like if they're in the office, let me just walk over there real fast and ask the question and get out of the way
Yeah.
versus now that 5-minute thing is now this could be a half hour situation.
I'm about to say something that may get us hate mails.
That means people are listening, so that'd be good. Yeah, that's good.
There is no deadline to my request or my email.
No deadline to your request.
No, the email
Okay.
I sent and the conversation, like, there's nothing. I was like,
Arbitrary.
yes and no,
Okay.
right? Yes, it has a deadline, but it's let's say few months away. But I sent the email, so I need to follow up because as an extrovert, I feel like the validation happens face to face or in that meeting, saying like, "Hey, I received your email and I'm working on it." Right?
Right.
That's all that's required. And then as my introverted colleagues will says like, "Yeah, I got it. I'll get to it when I get to it." Right? All these things are happening. More recently, I realized that it was my validation that was important,
Okay.
more important, right?
Right.
Than to just give that space of, okay, when they read it, they might reply, right? To your point of read receipts, right? They might
Mhm.
have that.
Yeah.
For me, it's the nod. Yep, I got it.
Okay.
Like I still
So,
need that, I guess, feedback loop closed, if that makes
all right.
sense.
Yes. So my question is
Yeah.
this: is it worse that someone doesn't reply in the time that you request, or they reply with "Yep, I read it," but didn't answer the question?
Great question. So I know more recent emails have started doing this where you can have like a emoji, like a like
Hmm.
button or right. That's fine. Like great.
So that's better
I
for
would
you.
say that's it, right? It is a quick validation saying like, "Yep, I have it. It's within my eyes. It's in my radar." And it
Does that
takes 2 weeks, 4 weeks, that's fine.
does it also include email read? So, like, again, if it's a read recipient, someone
Uh,
says they have to press the button to say, "Yes, I read it." Does
yeah.
that equal an emoji?
I have never used that feature, so I
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
I'm in a few places
'cause I
where
didn't even know that feature
yeah.
existed
Yes.
until, like, this
Yes.
conversation,
Mhm.
right?
That's before emojis, though,
Okay, now I
as the
can
response.
apologize to all the introverts.
Well, that's dating
I
me.
apologize.
Read recipient is kinda like dating me because I don't think anybody uses that anymore. I think to your point,
Yeah,
it's emojis as the reply.
yeah, yeah,
So if no okay, so I guess my next question is if no one
mhm.
replies within the 5 minutes, you need someone to reply is what you're saying. Whether it is but
I
or it
mean
has to be within minutes that they reply, regardless of what the
I mean,
response is.
I said 5 minutes because it was one example, right?
Oh, okay.
It could be a day, right? It doesn't
Okay.
have to be like
Okay.
5 minutes. But if let's say I sent the email and that was my computer time and I'm just walking out to socialize and, work on other things. I see them en route to wherever I'm going, right? I will pop in and say, "Hey, I sent you an email. Have you taken a look at it?" And then just keep going.
So I think we're going another direction here. I think it's how dare they go to the bathroom without answering me before they went to the bathroom? Like they're
Oh
going somewhere else.
no.
They're going somewhere
Oh my
else. They didn't
gosh.
answer my email. How dare they do that? Let me sabotage them or let me just kind of corral them right now because they answered my question, but they went to the break room
Oh,
to get the donuts
yeah, yeah,
without answering my question, without answering my
yeah.
email first.
Yeah, no,
It all comes together now. It's all coming together now. It's
okay.
it's the validation of your email comes first, the break room or whatever chore needs to be taken care of or work thing comes second. Okay.
Mm,
I'm understanding the concept.
wait, wait. So my email comes first and then whatever bio break or whatever you need to do comes second?
Right.
That's what I need? That's what you're saying?
Yes, because you said you
Mm.
saw them walking, whatever, and then when they came back, you said, "Hey, did you get my email?" Which means that they did something first.
No, no, no. Okay, let's read.
That was not the case.
Let's
Okay, maybe I
write
misunderstood. Maybe I misunderstood, which could be part of my
yeah,
personality.
I mean, okay. So let's say you and I, let's
Mhm.
keep it between the two of us. All right. You and I send you an email and I'm just going to another meeting because I like meetings and meetings and meetings. We
Right.
established that. Right. And on en route to my meeting, I see you. I'm like, "Hey, I sent you an email. Have you taken a look?" And if it's yeah, no, okay. Like the emotional part of
Oh,
that yes and no has no bearing. It's like, all right,
oh my gosh.
that's it. That's that's all. That's all.
Okay, okay.
If okay,
Okay,
I don't know if that
think
validates your previous statement.
I will modify the statement. Okay, so
Okay.
you need to
And
have
to
a
add to it,
response.
I need to have that closed loop.
You need to have a closed loop within a specific time frame, like within a very short
Oh,
time frame, or before you see somebody.
great question. I'll add to this. Like, if I don't see that person for the day, I have it's fine. Right.
Will you
It
hunt that
has
person down? But will you
no,
try to find the
no,
person in the office? Really?
no,
Okay.
no, yeah, it does not matter. Like if I see you, like,
Oh,
it's like, hey, I sent you an email. Okay. That's it. And then I just keep going on my merry way, right? Because I know
okay.
that email is not as important and urgent. Because if it is, it'll be labeled in the subject, and we can talk about email etiquette in a different email and
Got it.
communication etiquette in a different episode. But I could not see you for like 2 3 days and be fine. Like I'm not hunting people down to say like validate that you received my email, right? I trust the email system to get it there. But if
Right?
I do see you, I'm going to make
You
that
just
statement
trust the
and just keep
system.
moving forward.
If you don't see me, you trust the system. If you don't see me, you trust like 2 or 3 days, you trust the system that email works. If you see me within 5 minutes, you don't trust the system, and you're like,
No.
"Hey, did you get my email?"
Okay. I think there's a misunderstanding here. I love this, right? Because we were
Okay.
taught. this episode has been about who we are. And one of the components that we were going to touch on is miscommunication. And I love that
Yes.
we're having this.
And that's absolutely killing it right now with that. Killing it right now with miscommunication. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So, like,
We can have
my
this as an
trust
open
that,
loop. It's fine.
yeah,
We have to close
it's
this.
okay.
It's fine.
But we do need to close it. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, right?
Oh my gosh.
And so, all right, email sent. I trust the email was received, right? If I see the person in a day, 5 minutes, whatever, if I'm just crossing their office, I'll just pop in and say, hey,
Yeah.
right? If I see them an hour, 5 hours, 10 hours later, hey, again, not about the email not being received. It's about
Right.
seeing it. Okay. The validation is
Mm,
yes, no. That's it. That's it.
okay.
Do we have to talk about it? Nope. Do you have to give me an answer? Nope. Right.
You just
And
want to
this is
make
where,
sure it's received.
but again, I trust the system to have delivered it because it's in my sent folder.
Right.
I know communication happened.
You just want verbal communication in addition to
Yeah.
email confirmation that the email was sent.
No,
No.
I just
Okay.
need a confirmation.
A confirmation.
Like, yep,
Got it.
I see, like, colleague used to do this. Like, yep, I see your email in my inbox. Great. Keep moving forward. Right. Or
Gotcha.
I sent the email and they put like a liker, right? This is
Yeah.
the new version. I'm like, okay, I don't have to worry about it.
Yep. Okay.
Right. And
I gotcha. I
I
understand.
think
I'm
I'm
just
going through some trauma revelation right now, all in this episode about
personalities and
personalities.
who are we at work?
Because I'm remembering like was a email that I was supposed to send,
Mhm.
and I think I had like iffy internet connection, and it didn't send. It just stayed in my draft.
That I can
I
understand.
think,
That I can
yeah, I think
understand. There have been
that's probably
those
the response for why I need like validation.
issues. Right. Okay.
And it was like 2 weeks after the fact. I'm like, I haven't received any response, blah blah blah, and I didn't receive anything. And it was like a significant email for like,
So that I get. That I get because you did it
so
once. It
it's a
was an
trauma
important.
response, my
Right.
validation.
It's a trigger response, right? It's something important had to go out. It never went out
Right.
because of technical issues. And you're
Yeah.
saying to yourself, that is not happening again. So
Yeah.
now you're taking all the steps to make sure that, hey, did you get the
Yeah.
email if you run into somebody? And if
Right.
not, it's maybe it's out of sight, out of mind. Like, okay, well, I don't see the
Hmm.
person. I have to
Yeah.
think and believe that the email was sent. Otherwise, you would just get a cajillion steps a day
Yeah.
hunting people down. Hey, did you get the email? Did
Oh
you get
yeah.
the email?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
Like,
that
I
all
think, okay. So I guess it's not the email system validation. It's the system of did I hit send and it went through,
right,
and that other person, right?
right, and taking the
All to
steps for
say,
something not to happen again. Right,
yeah.
got
Yeah.
it.
All to say is what we're talking about is we present our triggered self, right? Our past behaviors, even unknown, right here, right? Reasons why we do the things we do to our work.
Right.
And, the more we know ourselves, like I had no idea I needed that
Hmm.
confirmation, right? Because of this one incident that happened one long time ago.
Right. But the
Yeah.
irony of all the I don't know the number of emails, but it's enormous, an
Yeah.
enormous amount of emails that you have sent over the years, right? It is the stability in your mind that I press send, it goes, it's
Right.
received, whether it
Right.
goes into your spam or not, that's not my
Yeah.
problem. I sent it.
Yeah.
So that concept of, it's reliable, it's stable, it's consistent. You're good with
And,
that. It's always that one
mhm,
time, right? The
yeah.
one time it didn't go through for some wonky tech reason. And now you're like, well, I guess I need to validate that the person received the email when you're like,
Yeah.
all this time before then, it was never an
Yeah.
issue. It's just crazy. And not in a mean way. It's like but
No.
that's human nature. Like one
Right.
time. It just takes one time.
Yep. And, that's who we are bringing into our workplace, right? We don't know the whole story. I didn't even know the whole story until we just kept going on this topic. And
Right.
then that popped up. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think that's why I do the thing I do.
Right. Right. And it's probably and to your point, maybe it is validation for others who do that as well. I mean, it's not
Maybe.
it sounds like something that will happen to many individuals, or maybe it's just a reason for someone to be another reason that someone is extroverted because they just want to talk to somebody. Like that's a good in. It's a good lead in to say,
Yeah,
"Did you get my email?" And then you talk about what other other
yeah,
things.
yeah.
But it's a great lead in. You know,
It is. But, I feel bad in recognizing what I recognize now to my introverted colleagues who keeps thinking that I have just been disrupting their flow.
I think it goes both ways, right? I think it goes both
Yeah.
ways. If you're an extrovert and you come across somebody like myself who is like, I'm a head nodder, like, or
Mhm.
yes, yes, no.
Yeah.
It's not, it must be just frustrating for an extrovert to talk to somebody who only thing they're like, the answers are short,
Right.
the tone is kind of quick because
Yeah.
the introvert wants to get back to the task at hand, and the
Yeah.
expert's like, "I wanna talk about this," and the introvert's like, "I kinda don't. I just need to get this taken care of." So it's kind
Right.
of this conflict of personalities and,
Yeah.
that I guess talking about, work dynamic when it comes
Yeah.
to something like that,
Mm.
how challenging it must be on both sides.
It is with a simple solution that has worked for me and that is DND, do not disturb,
Yeah, yeah,
right? As soon as that sign is on anybody's office,
right.
nope. Don't care if it's
There's your
urgent,
boundary,
right? There's the boundary,
your boundary.
right? Yeah. Oftentimes, that simple thing, putting a do not disturb on the email or chat, whatever
Yeah,
chat feature they're using or their
right.
office, right? Creates that boundary to say, like, I know I need to have this conversation, even if it's urgent. I can't do it because
Yeah,
their boundaries set up, right? And that little indicator changed the whole game,
okay. That makes
right?
sense.
Yeah. And in meetings these days, in teamwork these days, I tell people straight up, all right, I need a schedule. If I'm made responsible to create a schedule, it's going to be a moving schedule,
Mhm,
right?
okay,
So who in my accountability team, right, is able to create this schedule so I continue to meet it,
right.
right?
Yeah,
And just by doing that, right? I'm able to, how do I modify my workplace to work
mhm,
for me, right? And when I'm working with somebody that is more, let's say, structured, right? If I
okay.
know they're more structured, what I do is, hey, here's three things. I always just focus on three things.
That's a good number.
Here's three things that I need, and here's the deadlines. And I'll put if a deadline is negotiable, I'll put it in parentheses negotiable
Okay.
because I know that is what my colleague needs, who is more structured, to say like, yeah, okay,
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's great that you can be accepting of that person and recognizing that it could be challenging on their end, and so you
yeah,
kind of hit a compromise, where you get that time with an individual. At the same time, though, it's quick, it gets straight to
yeah,
the point, and
yeah,
then, you can move on to something else. So
yeah.
I think that's a great tip, actually.
I mean, it really is because when we present ourselves at work of who we are, right? Looking from that Myers-Briggs perspective or
Mm,
an Enneagram perspective, right?
mhm.
We can share our strengths, right? If there's an urgent project and the deadline is always shifting, I'm the right person for it, right? Um, so we can also recognize the strengths and also create support from the team for the challenges that we
Yeah,
personally have.
yeah,
But a lot of teams don't really have that conversation regularly. And this is where I find when I'm doing like group work, I find like, I didn't know you needed things that way. Like just awareness of,
sure.
oh, Ian, I didn't know you were introverted.
Right,
Now I can adjust how I
right, yeah.
approach conversations.
Yep, yep.
Right.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So just looking at the time here, we're kind of
Yeah.
get coming up against it, so to speak. Any final thoughts about this topic here?
Yeah. Recognize who we are
Mm,
and also in conversation, if we have like a quirk, for example, my need for validation,
mhm.
right? We divulge that could be coming from something way back when.
Yeah,
So recognizing and building space and compassion for that is helpful. When we know ourselves and we know our peer, our manager, and what their personality type is, it can really cut down on the time and effort we spend
Yeah.
on managing conflict, right? And streamlining process that work for the personality time that we are collaborating with.
Yeah. Yeah. I think how I would wrap it up is to say how the importance of taking one of the personality tests, whether it's Myers-Briggs or if it's an Enneagram, to establish who you're working with, especially
Mhm.
if you have been working with this team for a little bit some time, and if you want to be productive, to establish who they are, how to work, work alongside the strengths and areas of improvement, and just to recognize that we're all different. And so, what can we do to compromise to work well together, the best that you can?
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the conversation. We hope this episode has given you some insight on your journey to a more balanced and fulfilling career. Please find Beyond the 9 to 5, a balanced career on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode. Thank you for joining us.